And so, yeah, Jaxson Dart was the guy we picked as a quarterback winner. Makes sense. Obviously, the loser was Shedeur Sanders, and that one doesn't need much of an explanation. One of the craziest draft day falls I think I've ever seen. Who knows what happened behind closed doors and what those interviews were like. I love what the Browns did. Why not just take a stab at that point? 144. Like, didn't like Shedeur as a prospect, but at that point, you might as well take a stab on him and see how that plays out with Dillon Gabriel. But Jaxson Dart was the only other quarterback taken in round one besides number one overall pick, Cam Ward. And he was, I believe, your quarterback two, if not quarterback one, entering the draft, right?
QB1. I mean, you or Dart at least was my QB2. Okay. I put Dart ahead of Sheduer before the draft, and I guess the NFL thought that too. So me and CJay did hit a couple of hot takes. But yeah, the Sheduer slide, man, I don't think anybody could have guessed that. I mean, Mel Kiper was like losing his marbles on live television because it's, that's his number one ranked quarterback. So, but yeah, Jaxson Dart, he just landed with Malik Neighbors. We knew they got Jameis Winston. We knew they got Russell Wilson. Those are guys that are not long-term. Those are temporary guys. Those are bridge quarterbacks. Jaxson Dart is young. He's probably not going to play from the get-go. I believe he's going to sit behind Russ, if that's right. But yeah, no one expected this. This is just truly insane. We didn't think Jaxson Dart would even get first round draft capital. We weren't even sure. So that kind of like shored up these last couple of weeks. But yeah, the Giants had a great draft. Definitely redeemed themselves for, their hard knocks. And Jaxson Dart, he's an interesting quarterback. So I mentioned on our last live why I do like him so much. So I do believe that the main reason I put Dart over Sheduer in the first place is because I truly believe that he has the same, if not better arm than Sheduer, while also having way more rushing mobility. So that is huge for fantasy, obviously, but real life too. You need to scramble. There aren't many QBs these days that don't scramble. So there aren't any like Aaron Rodgers, like pocket passers anymore. That is like the way of the old. It is like you adapt to the Patrick Mahomes way of backyard football or die, essentially. So I believe this is a good pick. Jaxson Dart is just, he's a fiery player, man. I don't know if you watched the new like Gruden QB room, but it was pretty cool to see Jaxson Dart in there, just kind of like, get a look at who he is. But yeah, Dart, just to kind of go through a few like metrics. So rushing equity wise, Jalen Monroe obviously led the class with 32%, but second was Jaxson Dart with 22%. Sheduer had virtually none, and Cam Ward had 8%. So that rushing factor is huge for me. But not only that, Jaxson Dart also led the class in yards per attempt. And he was just short of Cam Ward and PFF grade for their careers. So who knows if Jaxson Dart is really that much worse than Cam Ward. I would not be surprised if in a few years from now, Jaxson Dart is considered better or the same as Cam Ward. So yeah, I think Jaxson Dart's a huge winner. He's going to sit and learn, maybe not from the best quarterbacks on planet Earth, but he's at least going to have that time to just take it in and soak in the NFL. And eventually he's going to get out there with, Malik Neighbors, who we know is a top 3 wide receiver probably in the NFL at the moment. So, yeah, pretty excited about that. Any thoughts?
I also love the Brian Daboll. You mentioned the rushing for Jaxson Dart, and Daboll said we thought Dart it compares to Josh Allen, and that's who Josh Allen was he has breakout under Brian Daboll over there with the Bills. Went from the quarterback 14 in fantasy points per game, 3,020 touchdowns there in his first year. And then Daboll comes in and Josh Allen goes to quarterback 3, 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns. I know it's all Brian Daboll. Diggs got there, year of progression and all that. But still, this is a play caller that squeezed the most out of his mobile quarterbacks in even in Daniel Jones, he was the quarterback 10 just 2 seasons ago. Entering 2023, he was the quarterback 6 over the second half of the year when Daboll officially took over play calling that year. And then he had his injuries, and the Giants have been collapsing. They had no offensive line. I get it. And that is still a concern, is that how's the line going to be there? But to say, this is a guy that reminds me of Josh Allen. We've seen what Daboll's done with these mobile type of quarterbacks in the past, these cannon arms, these guys that can throw on the move, these guys that can run for first downs too. It has all the makings of what you want for your fantasy QBs. Real life wise, we'll see how it pans out. I know he's going to be under duress quite a bit, but it has made fantasy goodness in. The fact that Daniel Jones could be a top 10 quarterback in this offense based on the way they use them as runners, it gives me hope for what Jaxson Dart could be. And that was without Malik Neighbors, as you mentioned, a top 3 weapon there. So good weapons there. The right play caller in Daboll, if he lasts, we'll see how long he holds up there. But I think he's set up well. Jaxson Dart, definitely the clear quarterback 2 after the draft. Probably should have been ahead of the draft. And a site that I love, Fantasy Points, Scott Barrett and that crew, they actually had Jaxson Dart as their QB1 based on their film study. And I trust their opinions. I respect their opinions big time. So big winner there. The Sheduer loss doesn't need to be overstated to the fact that he fell to day 3 after thinking he might go top 5 overall at one point. Maybe he wins the Browns job, maybe not. He's certainly just undraftable to me, honestly, in any format. At
the Browns,
Dillon Gabriel. I don't know. I want nothing to do with it.
The Browns literally have a QB bullpen, is what I'm going to call it.
Seriously.
They could play a different quarterback every quarter.
Right.
Like, seriously, it's ridiculous. I don't know what they're going to do. They have Shedeur, obviously. They drafted Dillon Gabriel ahead of him. I had Gabriel as my QB 6, actually, and Shedeur as my QB 3. So who knows there? Gabriel is literally the size of like a child. So he's very small. At least according to CJay too, seeing him in real life next to Herbert, I guess. But I don't know who's necessarily going to start there for the Browns. I think they'll probably give Shedeur a run. In the offseason, I think they said that it's open competition. Like, I believe everybody's going to compete for that starting job. So that is insane to me. Like, that is a mess. Like, they got
Cleveland often is.
Their draft literally looked like an auto draft.
Right. Yeah. They call it like the star and the star method in your queue in fantasy drafts. Like you just mistakenly forgot to take the star after you had too many quarterbacks on your team already. Fantasy drafting wise. I love it.
Unreal.
For sure.